The fuck? Who the hell's doing this shit?
Where you want to start on the notables? We got some bangers. We're gonna start with election announcements. We're gonna start with Carney. Where do you want to go first?
Yeah, you
pick. No. You're driving the ship. I'm just along for the ride.
Now let's fucking do this liberal convention or leadership thing, because there's now a bunch of people that have thrown their name in the hat. Karina Gould, Mark Carney, Chandra. I forget that guy's name. The guy that we talked about last week that doesn't want to speak French or can't speak French. Freeland. Yeah. Am I missing a Carney? I don't know. Maybe it's Carney's
Gould,
twice.
Freeland, Carney, the Indian fella.
Yeah, I think that's it. Am I missing anybody? So yeah, like that's it. So we have basically that's the lineup, right? Like there you go. Who's the best of the lot? It's up to you to decide if you're a liberal supporter, liberal,
and if you're not, member. Just become one. It's very easy.
Yeah, it's funny to see now. In a very short period of time, the narrative surrounding carbon tax.
Yeah. Did you watch the interview? I think one of the Bull guys shared it with us. The interview that Freeland did today with former CH News anchor, actually Nick Dixon, notoriously difficult to talk to at a bar, if you believe the St. Catharines lore about him. Talking about the
Mark
carbon
Hebscher?
tax.
That guy seems like a cool dude.
Hebscher's the best. I have Hebscher stories I could tell you.
I love when he and Mark Tanti used to do Sportsline back in the day.
The Hebsy Award is the best.
Yeah, the Hebsies. Yeah,
he's great. Anyway, Freeland talking with Nick Dixon about, well, a couple of things, right? Number one, how would you have handled things differently? You know, if your finance minister resigned, what would you have done? Freeland going, well, first step is not to tell your finance minister you're firing her after she delivers the fall economic statement 3 days before she delivers it. That's the first step. Like, that's pretty harsh. That's a bit of a knife in the back, though. I think
she's
clearly some animosity between the two of them. Yeah. And the other,
you can see there's a divide here. She's the anti-Trudeau, right? That's the way she's kind of portraying herself. And then Carney's like kind of the Trudeau-ish person.
I really think that, okay, I'll tell you this after, but the other thing about the interview that I liked was when they started talking about the carbon tax, and Nick, to his credit, did give her a little bit of a push. Like, hey, you know, you're telling me now you don't want to do the consumer facing. She's very clear about making that distinction, consumer facing carbon tax. You know, but you guys said to put money in everyone's pockets. So are you not taking money out of Canadians' pockets when they're in the middle of a cost of living crisis? Now, the clip floating around is truncated. It's very short. And I think it misses some context that is a little bit favorable to Freeland. But the overall message is just, you know, we're in a different game now, because as everyone knows, when you have a boss, you do things the boss wants, you say the things the team needs, and they're not always the things that are true. And I thought, man, that is like such a dagger. At the same time that the government of Canada just started running ads on TV about how important carbon pricing is to protect the environment and put money in people's pockets. So you have, on one hand, you know, the GC Jingle advertising campaign, doing these carbon ads. And then on the other hand, Freeland in the press talking about how it doesn't put money in people's pockets. That was a lie. We told that lie because that's what the coach told us, what Trudeau told us. You have Carney at his event saying similar stuff. He doesn't want to do the public facing carbon tax anymore. I don't know what to make of all that. And then on top of that, you have like Karina Gould, who, you know, has been pretty central, I guess is the word, in terms of like liberal comms. Like in QP, she's always one of the ones who speaks the most. And it's
because she was the House leader. So it's not even on her portfolio.
Yeah. So not even on her portfolio, right? She was like the Minister of Families or something like that.
No, she was House leader. She was.
Didn't she? What was her portfolio though? Didn't she have she wasn't a minister?
To the best of my knowledge, not. She was there to like every time there's a fire to be put out in the house.
She's parrying the attacks. That's what she's doing.
Yeah, right? It's a tough position to be in, but she messed it when she was dealt with.
I like how. So I'll tell you something I don't like, and then I'll put something I like around it. Right, this is the old management thing, the compliment sandwich, sort of. This is more an open-faced compliment sandwich. The thing I don't like is that these guys are all liars, all of them. They'll say anything, and they, you know, I have had so many conversations with people who I think are really smart, including members of my own family, over the last few years saying the carbon tax was bullshit. Obviously does not put money in people's pockets. Obviously is not a net gain for 80% of families. Obviously, this whole thing is a lie. House of cards, wind is picking up, all that stuff. And kept on hearing from these guys and girls. But it puts money back in people's pockets. The government does this because it supports the economy for the lower income earners, lower carbon users, blah, blah, blah. Turns out none of that was true. Freeland admitting as much today. It's just not true. And Carney, who has been in the press many times over the last little while about how he's an outsider, those policies are not his policies. Like they are. You advised on that. You're in many different speaking engagements, videotaped, recorded, quoted, clipped, remixed, whatever, talking about carbon taxes, the importance of carbon pricing and pollution pricing. So you're for it.
You know what his position is with the UN?
Yeah. Like UN, you name it.
No, he is the carbon advisor or something.
Yeah, he's in
special envoy.
Role. Yeah,
something like this is his fucking appointed position.
Incredible. And like these people, by the way, running as quote unquote different from Trudeau and outsiders. You astutely pointed out to us last week in a private chat, and I'm going to say it now.
No, this is well known. This was done in December.
It's not well known. I can't find this anywhere. I can't find it anywhere.
December of last year. So like December, like last month. Sorry.
Okay, you say it.
Well,
for people who say Freeland and Carney and Trudeau and all these, they're all different from each other. No, tell me why.
No, there's enough of a connection because Freeland, one of her kids, the godfather is Mark Carney.
Amazing. The incest at the highest levels of influence in the Canadian political scene. It's fucking everywhere. Okay. Carney running as an outsider. The guy was the governor of the Bank of England during Brexit. Fuck that up. Governor of the Bank of Canada during the 2008 crisis. Fuck that up. His actions led to one of the biggest bubbles in all of human history forming in the Canadian real estate market. Disasters in the cost of living for Canadians started there with him. And by the way, for an outsider, the guy's fucking signature is probably on the $20 bill in your wallet. So to give you an idea of how much of an outsider that guy is, that's how much. Then you got these guys talking about how they're different from Trudeau. No, these guys are buddy at dinners. They're fucking skiing together. The Laurentian elite is the swamp here. And these guys are all in it. And they want you to believe they're not. They're lying. All of them are lying. That's the thing I don't like. The thing I do like, though, about the campaign is the vitriol. These guys fucking hate each other.
It's typical.
I love it. I think the debate, if there's ever a leadership debate or something akin to a leadership debate for the Liberal Party, that'd be must-see TV. I don't think they have to do it by their rules, but it'd be must-see TV. And I also think that there will be at least one bang up, blow up, home run clip of whoever loses the Liberal leadership debate, trashing whoever wins it after the first leaders debate leading up to the election. Almost a guarantee. I can already picture Freeland or Karina Gold getting on TV with Vashi Kapelos or with, I don't know, with fucking Nick Dixon, fucking Sid Sixero, who's now a political guy, apparently. I thought he was a fucking sports guy. He goes getting on TV with one of these people, right? Either Question Period, Power and Politics, whatever. And just ripping the performance of whoever wins the Liberal candidacy. Not necessarily because they disagree with the viewpoints, not necessarily because they don't want them to rule the day, but because they just hate them. And that's what I'm asking. If
he wants to attend the debate as an accredited CBP reporter.
Can we get accreditation? I mean, Carney's kicking people out of his fucking.
What? No, come on. Mark Carney, if he wins,
Mark, I'm talking to you now, Mark. If you wanted to do a campaign event where you would only get the CBC crowd, you should have done it in Toronto, buddy. If you want to do an event in Alberta, Edmonton, of all places, you're going to get Western media. The Western media fucking hates you, man. That's obvious. Incompetent campaign management. No security. Okay?
He did it there for the reason he is born there, right?
Oh,
he's trying to say, look,
cares?
I'm coming. No. There's some... It's not going to work, I think, because there is a method to the madness here. He doesn't want it to be put in the same situation as Michael Ignatieff, where I still remember.
Little late, just visiting.
Just visiting.
Little late for that.
This same thing could apply here with him. If he loses this Liberal leadership debate, what are the odds he's still going to remain in Canada or just pick up and go somewhere?
He's not going to stay.
Right. He's turning 60 in March.
Yeah.
Why stick around?
People who are 60 would have you believe that's the new 30, by the way. But go ahead.
You can say, this guy, and this is what I would do if I was go to a Caribbean island if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
Right. It only makes sense. Enjoy your life. You're only on this earth for a set period of time. He must have the means. Why stick it and fight it here through the cold weather, a devaluing currency and shit like that? Just enjoy what you have and just do like that. But he might win. Right. It's basically between the front runners are him and Freeland.
Yeah.
Whoever they run out there is going to get absolutely lambasted. Freeland can't win and have any aspirations of winning the election. She has not separated herself enough from the current regime.
She's speaking against herself in some of these media appearances. I'll go back to the one with Nick Dixon talking about how Trump doesn't like weakness and she's not a weak person. And, you know, he'll have a hard time with her because she just refuses to bend the knee. And then also saying that I had to bend the knee and talking about the carbon tax, talking about immigration, talking about like, it's just, I said this to you and to Mark privately. I'll say it on the show. When I looked at Carney on the Daily Show, now I will be the first to admit that was like the softball interview of softball interviews, and Jon Stewart did a lot of the work there. But I thought Carney,
that's exactly that.
But I thought Carney, for his part, you know, he's only asked to catch 5-yard hooks, and he caught a couple of 5-yard hooks. And Stewart was throwing good balls. He's reading the defense. That's fine. Carney did what he was asked to do. I will say that if you compare that performance to the performance he gave at the Edmonton, whatever that was, something Heights, I forget. I think it was called Prime Minister, I forget who, but something Heights. If you look at those two performances, it's almost unbelievable how bad he was in front of the podium. Then I look at Freeland and Nick Dixon. Freeland, when she's kind of freestyling with Nick, I don't want to say likable, but she's a lot more likable than I remember her. And then when you see her during her Boys and Girls Club thing in Toronto, her announcement, she's not likable. And I just wonder, and I said this to you, Mark, is it the party messaging, the party apparatus, the party PR standards or whatever? Not that they're necessarily hard and fast, but it just seems that in any event where they're forced to read either from a piece of paper or from a teleprompter, they're stale, they're cold, they're lifeless, they're politicians in the worst way. And then when they're freestyling, but when they're freestyling, though, but when they're freestyling, they're like fucking good, you know? Like that's
Palmer always knew you would like that.
And so I just wonder, like, is it a party that's fucking killing these guys?
No, it's who they are. I don't think
I don't get that at all. Maybe I just like more authentic appearances, and other people prefer something that's a little more packaged and polished. But it just looks so weird to me that they would keep bringing these guys back to settings where they look like the politicians that every major country is trying to leave behind, as if we're any different, you know, like they don't get it. And I listened to the Strategist podcast against my better judgment today. Those guys are retarded. They're terrible strategists, and none of them are ever on winning campaigns. One of them is working on the Carney campaign. And like, why would you hire these guys who don't do well anytime they're called on? It's just like over and over again, just obvious mistakes. And you could say, Joey, what do you know? You're a podcaster in your basement. Well, I don't know, man. It seems to me like we've been ahead of the curve on a lot of stuff, not just me and Len, but just like the broader sort of fringe Canadian public has been ahead of the curve on all this stuff. How do you justify using these guys, right? And exactly, they have no.
This is hope. They are going to be sacrificial lambs. Whoever wins this is going to get absolutely fucking wrecked. If there was a way they had something on Poilievre, they would have busted it out by now. Trudeau would have busted it out because he would have done so
to try and save his own. Yeah, you think,
right? And the fact nothing has been released to date means they have nothing that they can say, oh, there's a skeleton in Poilievre's closet, let's use this as the ace up the sleeve. Doesn't exist. So they're going to get absolutely wrecked. Okay, so they're going to get wrecked. Everybody agrees on this, I believe. So what's going to happen after that? There's going to be a cleansing. And you're going to have a different direction in the party. You're going to have a whole new set of folks come in and try to rebuild from the ground up. Kind of thing like that was done like 15 years ago when after Ignatieff, they kind of did that. But here we are. It didn't have the longevity that it.
Not even close.
Maybe they got it right. There's a lot of overlap between them and the NDP, and I think that they have to eliminate that overlap because you don't need the redundancy of that. I said it before. The Liberal Party in the center or close to the center.
They're the Knicks, man. Sometimes they're the Knicks. Yeah. When they're good, everything is more fun. But when they're not good, it's like it's boring.
It's just the sad reality is like I think what I want. Actually, I know what I want. It's probably never going to happen. The world has changed a lot in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, the world is always changing, but it's changed quite a bit. That if you stood on this ground 20 years ago and you were, say, center of the political spectrum and you haven't moved, you haven't changed your ideas one bit, you're now far right.
Things around you shifted. Moved. Yeah.
And so that's the sad reality is that there's been enough changes just in general that what I think should happen with the Liberal Party probably will never happen.
Do you know Liz Truss was on Peter McCormick's show? Boomer's noting here that he sent me a clip of her warning Canadians about Carney. I don't know if that was on his show or not.
She was even tweeting about that.
Do you think we could get Liz Truss to come on this show to talk about Mark Carney? I would
love to. We could do a play-by-play of every second of her being the prime minister of.
Well, it's only like 10 minutes. I mean, we do a longer show than every week.
But I would love to do that because it's just play-by-play. Just deep dive into her daily life, everything that was done when she was prime minister.
She was the one who tried to make a hard decision for that country and immediately was ousted, like unceremoniously and very publicly. So, and she was right. She's going to wind up being a figure that's revered, I think, in 10 or 12 years.
Think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember what was the reason.
Depends when you think this whole thing is going to collapse, this whole fiat Ponzi scam. Like we got, I don't know how close we are, but you got to figure in 10 or 12 years, it'll be at least more clear to people that she was correct in her assessment of the situation and then things that need to be done.
What was she trying to do? Do you recall these?
I think there's something to do with. Yeah, go ahead. There's something about
I always thought she was like closer to like the next Boris Johnson. Boris wasn't.
No.
It's because she was the successor to him, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I just thought, like,
she was the successor to Rishi, wasn't she? Rishi Sunak was.
I have, I don't.
Yeah, I forget now, but
it's all whatever. A fucking.
Boomer says you can help us get Liz Truss. Liz or Boomer, if you can, like, I'll talk to Liz on the phone if she wants. She's a little bit ahead of us in terms of time zone, but
5 hours.
I'll stay up late. Yeah, if she wants to, let me know.
Or just do it
Liz,
earlier.
let me know. Let me know, Liz. We'll have you on. Happy to do it.
Yeah.
I want to hear about Mark Carney. I don't know a lot about Mark. I see the stuff he's talked about. I think he is one of the typical politicians that we see here in Canada, but if there's something I need to know, I would like to know it and share that information. And by the way, I would give Mark Carney an opportunity to come on this program and defend his reputation. And I would be fair to him. And I would tell him that I thought he was funny on the Daily Show.
Would you let Jagmeet Singh come on?
Absolutely not. Under zero circumstances.
Why?
You know what?
The guy, he stands up in House of Commons. He says when he becomes prime minister, he says it every fucking time.
It's amazing. I say that when I get up in the morning too, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
But he's an elected official.
It's actually more likely, I think, that I become if you went on Polymarket right now and had my odds of prime minister and his odds of prime minister, I think I'd be the favorite.
He is likely, he's gone. So you're going to have the Liberal leader gone. You're going to have the NDP leader gone. Blanchett's probably going to stick around. Polyev will probably become the prime minister. So you're going to have 2 of the 4 still around. The Bloc Québécois is official opposition. It's a possibility. We had it before, 1993. So it's quite possible we could have that again. They get a lot of funding. They get a lot more eyeballs because they're the first to ask questions. They ask the most questions in the House.
Yeah. That'd be fun. I would love to see Blanchette take some shots.
Yeah.
I love Quebecers. I think they're great. I think that is a person that is much more hardened than the average Canadian, and I think it makes for good TV to let them.
What about an East Coaster? It's fucking no. I don't know about the economy, just generally the weather.
Yeah. The
way somebody described it to me, it's fucking cold because it's that damp cold that gets to your fucking.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the hardiness of like someone in QP. I don't really care about the East Coast.
I just look at I couldn't last 10 minutes out east because it's just too fucking cold for me. Somewhere else, I don't know if I could last is in these tiny homes that Hamilton bought. I'm not sure.
You want to talk about Hamilton's tiny homes?
Yeah. Let's talk about this.
I was out at a lunch last week with I won't say with who, but with a couple of people who know about the tiny homes debacle.
Is it Whitehead?
And, it's not Terry Whitehead. No, Terry Whitehead has one of the worst fucking wigs of all time.
One time playing a Chidok.
he's like that guy is a legend in Hamilton politics. Him and Sam Morril also a legend.
My buddy hit his ball by mistake.
He loses his mind.
He's like, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah, he's nuts.
Like, it's my ball.
He's nuts. So I was what
the heck are you doing hitting his ball? Ow, you fucked up.
So we're talking about these tiny homes, and it truly is a debacle. The city rebuked offers from local builders and vendors to have these homes built. They instead, typical NDP Andrea Horwath fashion, reached out to what they thought was an Indigenous-owned business. Turns out that even if it is an Indigenous-owned business, these guys scammed the city. And you may ask, Joey, how did they scam the city? Well, I'm going to bounce you up and down on my knee and talk to you about it. What they did was they told the city that they could build these homes, and they obviously had this angle that they were an Indigenous business and this is good for politics and good for optics and all these things. City said, okay, sure. Did zero research, none, literally nothing, zero. Okay. They probably signed this contract on the fucking toilet and sent it out on their phone. These guys ended up getting the tiny homes for, I think, $35,000 a piece from an Alibaba type company, Temu, Shein type company, whatever, and plopped them down. They are obviously made in China. A lot of people unhappy about this whole thing. And the city will never answer any questions about this, even though there are counselors now who are pushing on it because it's, politically convenient to do so. But of course, none of these same counselors probably had any issues with them using Indigenous businesses. Probably none of them read the proposal dockets. Probably none of them did any research on whether or not this company has ever done tiny homes before, anything like that. Meanwhile, in Hamilton, during COVID, there were a number of businesses that did stuff like outdoor dining decks for local companies, just guys from around the area who were out of work and started up LLCs, building decks and building little structures to separate people from each other.
Sanctioned, Joey.
They were sanctioned.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah, the city paid them to do these things, right? The city paid them to build these things. We shut down certain lanes on certain streets because there was less car traffic. And so they had these opportunities. And the city, in its infinite wisdom, never thought to reach out to any of these people either, even though you basically had them build the same structure 4 years ago. No one at the city thought, hey, didn't we have a guy who built like a 10 by 10 wood structure for restaurants downtown? Oh, we shouldn't call them. We're going to go to the Indigenous guys. Why? For no other reason than because they were Indigenous. Brain dead.
Oh, they gave a decent. So it was, obviously the Indigenous factor was there too, but the price was also another bonus, like $35,000 per unit, which they thought would have been able to provide more than what it should, because at $1,600, obviously you're not going to get very much. So the idea was that they're going to get a lot more for the $35,000, and obviously they're not. And that's $7 million. That's basically.
I continue to say, by the way, that it's not just me saying this. Anyone in the addictions community will echo this sentiment, and this is well recognized in expert circles, real expert circles, not fake expert circles. That fixing homelessness takes more than putting people in a home.
It's a start.
But it's actually not. It should be the last thing that happens.
They need a roof over their head, Joey.
So you do it in a situation that doesn't give them independence, right? Because what happens is you still have all the habits that forced you into homelessness, and just because you have a roof over your head doesn't mean that you won't continue those habits and continue this path of ruin that you're on.
I think that what's being lost here is that it's a tiny home too.
Yeah.
And we've mentioned
it's inhumane. It's honestly inhumane.
It's not inhumane. Like it almost goes back to that old meme for the WF, you will own nothing and be happy. This is a very similar thing. Yeah. Because who owns this tiny home? It's not the people that occupy it. It's going to be obviously like the community government owned. And they're not very big. You're not going to be able to host a dinner party.
And by the way, nobody wanted to have those. Nobody wanted to have them in their neighborhood either, which was another sticking point for the city.
They just set these fuckers up in a Home Depot parking lot and use them as a marketing tool. Look at this shed we built. People could live in it. You should install one in your backyard. If it's good enough for somebody to live in it, your fucking wheelbarrow could also live in it as well. So that's what they should do.
It's absolutely insane that this is going on in the year of our Lord 2025. Just there's the thing about
it's not going to get any better, Joey. It's in terms of man. Oh, there's going to be less homeless next year. Oh, they're going to have bigger places. It just continually get worse. The price of homes is further out of the reach of people, right? Totally. If you don't have a house, you'll never get one, or for most you're not going to get one. Rent, although rent has come down in general in Canada, it's going to go back up very soon just because, well, everything else is going to go back up. And so it's just, you're going to have more and more people captured in this category of having fucking nothing.
Agreed.
And they're going to look at that.
There's no escape plan. There's no escape plan for people. And this is why, like, not to go into the weeds here, but these like pardons from Biden, like he pardons Anthony Fauci. Fauci, like we talk a lot on the show about the inflation of the pandemic and the inflation of the response from the pandemic. Like there's a real chance that this fucking guy caused the dream of homeownership to become just that, a dream, never to be realized for like 1 billion plus people all over the world, thanks to the pandemic response. And the cover up and the hiding and the lies about the vaccine, the lies about the severity, lies about like there's a chance that this guy single-handedly ruined 1 billion different bloodlines in terms of like wealth accumulation. And it's just like, it's almost unfathomable.
One appointed individual has that much.
It's all, is that nuts? Like, is that, am I crazy thinking that that's like, is that too big a stretch?
I think
I'm saying there.
There's some sort of checks.
This is the tinfoil we were talking about at the beginning of the show, by the way. But I think this is like I'm on the right track here. Am I not?
I think there's checks and balances that prevent that from taking place. There's not a dictatorship where you have so much power in one position. So I would lead to believe no.
Nobody else had the power and influence that guy had, right? Like he was on stage with Trump. He's on the the Daily Show, nightly show. He's on the cover of Forbes, like he's on the New Yorker. He's on every channel.
You don't think a subordinate of his looks at the data and says this is wrong and will just shut the fuck up?
I don't think they have a chance to influence the outcome, is what I think.
I just don't know. There's a lot of this. We need
the Fauci trading records, by the way. Pelosi, great, but give me the Fauci stock investment. You know, what's he been putting his money in, that guy?
I you know what? I'll be perfectly honest. I know very little about that guy, and
he fucked up the AIDS epidemic.
I heard that for whatever reason, I have no desire to learn about Fauci. He
tried to tell everyone in the 90s that by the time like 1994, 1995 hit, 20% of the American population, adult population, would have HIV. Like that's. Then you look at what he said about the pandemic, like COVID. Oh, this will kill everyone. Everyone's going to get it if you don't stay 6 feet. Like it tracks, it tracks. And it's just like, fuck me if he didn't ruin it for literally 1 billion people. How many small businesses, how many people became addicted to drugs and alcohol? How many people, lost their health and wealth thanks to businesses closing or losing jobs? How many people took fucking 6 of those shots? Like they don't fucking
about this,
like.
Joey,
there's just no penalty for this. Nothing. The guy's pardoned.
You mentioned
10 years, 15, 10 years, 11 years, whatever it is.
See, the fiat system was doomed. There was no longevity there. It was just a matter, not a if, but when. Yeah. This whole experiment, which took place 4 years ago, made it go faster, and it brought it much quicker to its end than it would have if it never came into existence. So it could take that. It just helped push this thing along quicker, and it's going to see the end much quicker as a result.
Yeah.
And Bitcoin, it helped make Bitcoin to be a bigger thing than what it was.
I think that's true. Yeah.
So we can take that. Yeah. So, even for me, like, I was not really that, like, I bought Bitcoin. Like, I never thought much of it, but it's a series of events that took place that really made me understand what the fuck this is. And, that shaped me who I am now. Mm-hmm. And without those taking place, who knows? I mean, maybe I'll still be just buying ETFs and shit like that. Right. What a fucking joke I was.
Oh man,
Janet Yellen. We'll talk quickly about her.
Janet.
Yeah, Janet. This is a beauty of a story, Joey, because she's saying that
she's
Treasury.
She's just a little dumpling. I saw that little Buddha body dumpling there walking out of the Federal Reserve building or whatever for the last.
See, I can't say much about her, like as an individual. In terms of like being Treasury Secretary, we get to say, but she could be a charming person for all. I have no fucking clue. Again, I know very little about her.
Got a lot of riz, that lady.
I have no idea. Like, if you leave your lights on in your car, she'll be the one that knocks on your door and says, "You know why your lights are on?" I have no fucking clue about her.
I think it's probably fairly likely that she is a decent baker, but I'm not sure that she'd bring a cookie to your house. That's the kind of girl Janet is.
Okay, well, see, I don't know. I'll leave it at that because she said that the Treasury is going to have to take extraordinary measures starting January 21st. The timing of this is wonderful because January 21st, which is tomorrow, Trump got sworn in today. Oh, by the way, you inherited this fucking extraordinary measure mess. So basically, they're going to reach the statutory debt ceiling between January 14th and 23rd. So they may have already hit it. If not, it's going to be later this week.
Oh, man.
Like, the timing of this is just wonderful. It's like they just realized that now they look at the paperwork and oh shit, guys.
By the way,
can run out. Oh, by the way, we're leaving our job today.
I should know on the way out of here. Oh yeah, by the way.
Your desk is there. Here's the keys to the cabinet, and there's nothing. By the way, you guys could do. You guys are fucking.
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to get my leftovers out of the fridge. I almost forgot. On the 21st, shit's really gonna hit the fan. Good luck. Take care.
In case money runs out, break glass. That's what they're gonna have to do.
Yeah.
This is the what the fuck?
Man.
Well, now that I think about it, I was gonna say,
burn it down, baby. Len, what do we say? We gotta burn it down. Burn it down. There's no other. What do we do?
They're leaving nothing for the rap Bitcoiner.
She probably took another 100 million in fucking cash to send over to Vladimir Zelensky or whatever that guy's name is on the way out.
Oh, you know what? Now, fuck. How much more money is going to be sent there to Canada?
Zero. This much. $0.
Well, now that we have,
that's how much.
Wow,
fucking nothing. And by the way, way overdue. Way overdue. Okay.
You know, Joey, there's one more story I think we have to quickly talk about.
Let's do it. I'm happy to.
Canada is giving financial assistance to Gazans.
Hell yeah.
So they're going to be issuing what they call visitor visas or temporary resident visas.
Yeah.
5,000 applications could be filed and approved up to April 22nd. So either April 22nd hits or 5,000 applications. That's the range. So probably 5,000 applications, I'm assuming. People that do apply coming for assistance, their application fees for their visas are going to be waived, as well as the biometric fees. They're also going to be waived as well. Then when they come here, there's going to be a one-time direct payment, $3,000 per adult, and $1,500 per child. That's 17 sick. Or under. A lot of people here are homeless. I thought there was a ceasefire going on in that part of the world. I don't know. I don't live there. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I could just kind of read what's going on my Twitter feed. I don't really pay too much attention to it, but another 5,000 folks here, good
for them. Good for them. What a haul. Like, isn't that nice? By the way, we can't put you in a home. We can't give you food at the food bank. We can't give you a road that doesn't have a 4-inch pothole in the fucking middle of it. We can't give you police services. We can't give you anything but hallway medicine. But here's the good news. If you're faking asylum, fleeing a country that's about to enter a ceasefire, here's a bunch of fucking money, a boatload of it.
Well, to be fair,
that is that is such a fucking kick in the dick, to people.
To be fair, it isn't
is it not
a lot of money, but just money in general.
Len, listen, I'm pretty well off. You're pretty well off. Could you do something with $5,000 if I gave you $5,000?
It's $3,000 per adult. So if you give me $3,000,
you got a couple. It's $6,000. Could you do something with $6,000? You got a wife. I got a wife. Could I do something with $6,000? I just had a kid. Can I do something with $6,000?
in terms
do
of
they
like, how far
deserve
you
it
can
more?
stretch
Do
that,
they
not-
deserve it more than I deserve it? Just say
no,
it. Do they
I'm not-
deserve it more than I deserve it?
that's
No,
a
they
different-
fucking don't. No, they
that's a
fucking
different
don't.
topic.
They,
What I'm
they
trying to get is
deserve nothing
that's
from the country's coffers.
probably better.
Zero.
Right, but 3,000 ain't a lot. But it should be zero. That's probably
It ain't a
the
lot.
better number.
Tell that to somebody who has to send their kid to get a fucking carton of milk at school because they can't feed them at home. It ain't a lot.
That 3,000 would get wiped out pretty damn quick too.
Whatever. So what? That's for someone else. See, this is what I'm talking about. Okay?
The issue here is that it's something you're bringing in more people here in an environment where we're saying it's too full. They are trying to reduce the amount of temporary people in Canada because the system is stretched to a
it's
thing.
broken.
The healthcare services, schools, roads,
everything.
Right. So, and a way to help alleviate this, the federal government has said, you know what, we're going to put the kibosh to this, and we're going to not approve a lot of these temporary residents, and in fact, we're going to tell them to go the fuck home.
Yeah, how'd it go today?
But then on top of that, then you have this, another 5,000 people. Like, I get it. It's war-torn, but really...
There's war everywhere. Why do I have to give them $3,000 each? Like, why do I have to do that? Why? The answer is, I don't.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't. And it's not my concern. If you come from a country where you are throwing stones at each other, killing women for showing their face, murdering gay people over Stone Age myths, that's your fucking problem. I don't want to see your flag on the street. I don't want to give you $1 for your fucking stay. I don't want to do any of it. And every Canadian is sick of this. They are sick of it. Look at the polls. Look at the opinion polling. Look at the Twitter feed. Look at the Facebook group. Look everywhere.
I don't understand why this is being done. I could kind of understand because of the fact they say, okay, it's humanitarian reasons, but at the same token, you're saying that the people here that are here temporarily, you're saying you're not going to be able to keep them and they have to go home. So you're trying to kick out a bunch of people, but then bring in others. It's almost kind of an offset. So it doesn't make sense. If perfect environment when you have the economy humming along, and unemployment is very low.
We've said this
and
so many times. Yeah,
that would be a great environment, but we're not there. We've
doesn't work. It doesn't
changed things in the past few years.
Yeah.
We're no longer in that position, and unfortunately,
it doesn't work.
5,000.
It doesn't work because if you get free money, you don't have to assimilate. You just live with other people like yourself, and then you wind up with these giant religious protests in the street. Unacceptable. Completely unacceptable.
There's a lot. There's more than that. Canada, you can come here. English is spoken a lot of different places.
Yeah.
So if you kind of like, I always talk about Italy. It's hard for somebody to go to Italy.
Len,
if you're
and
not speaking Italian.
This is the other bullshit fucking thing I hear from retards on the internet. All these people with the Ukrainian flag and other stupid shit in their fucking bios. Is the UN conventions on asylum. We have to take asylum seekers. I got news for you. Asylum seekers have to go to the first available country. They don't get to cross the fucking ocean to come to Canada. Okay? That's enough of this. And by the way, all this garbage nonsense, international law says that. We got to get out of all these fucking treaties. All of them.
Oh, did you see Trump got out of the Paris Accord today, by the way?
Trump's out of the Paris Accord. The Fed is out of the green policy stuff. The European Union is like, all this stuff is falling by the wayside. We are getting back to a time where we have to look inwards now and fix the stuff that's going on here. These asylum rules are nothing but garbage driven by huge corporations to force you to take slave labor from third world countries under the guise of war and discrimination and other, which, by the way, they are causing as well in those home countries. Enough. I don't want to fucking see any more of this. I don't want to hear any more of it. No more money, no more asylum, no more hotels, no more nothing. Stay home, fix your own problems, and sort it out on your own terms. It's not for me to decide. It's not for me to influence. And as sure as fucking shit is not for me to fucking pay for. End of story.
Joey, here's a good one. Hot off the press. Trump says that tariffs could come to Mexico and Canada. 25% tariffs could come as early as February 1st.
Perfect. We need to learn a hard lesson here in this country.
I'm looking at the chart, the Canadian-U.S. chart.
Punishment.
Punishment. As soon as that was announced, it went down from like 70-ish cents down to 69. It dropped almost a penny.
That's a big drop.
Almost instantly.
That's a big drop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All these people who voted for these policies, who still have the flag in their profile picture, who still give money to these causes, you are in for so much fucking pain. You cannot imagine how difficult life is going to be for you if Trump decides that he's done propping us up.
It's
you don't know how difficult it's going to be. You don't.
It will. We've been talking about for years. What is the way to get out of this?
Trump out of the WHO too. Boomer just said pulled out. This guy's on fire for a first day.
Well, I don't want to talk about the
I gotta watch isn't he signing executive orders in a fucking arena or something? Did I see that?
They brought a desk over.
I love that. Listen, we're signing off. You should all go turn that on. Come back tomorrow. Me and Mayor Ken Sim.
No, but he's now in the Oval Office because if you look at, he's
perfect.
So.
Let's get it going. I gotta turn that on. Come back tomorrow, Mayor Ken Sim. Come back Wednesday, Phil back. Thank you for watching. Close to 900.
Oh, we got another 15 stories to go.
Oh, fuck. I'm out of here. God bless you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. It's going to be a good show. 7 o'clock, me and the Mayor of Vancouver. Until then, take care of yourselves.
Take care.